Take some time to kind of break down APA format 6th edition with just a little note. So the APA 7th edition is coming out in October, but do not freak out. There will only be some subtle changes in format per se, um, but it should not be completely different than APA 6th edition. There's usually no major changes that are done. And when new additions are made, they just add more examples of recent technology on how to cite things, such as the sixth edition included how to reference Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. And so the seventh edition will kind of do the same. What I do know is that the seventh edition will change the title page for students. So the title page you see here is mainly for a student and a professor or doctor, such as myself, submitting a manuscript to a peer reviewed journal for publication. And so, what the rumor is that APA is getting rid of the running head for students because only people that publish in peer reviewed articles really need that. And there's also a rumor that that's even going away. So, more to follow. But this will be a good tutorial nonetheless. So I'm going to go over some common areas that students struggle with using the template and or with APA format. So if you look right here at the running head, do not capitalize this H in running head. And you need these words running space head and colon and just one space. And then just type your abbreviated title here. This should be in all caps. So whatever this title is, this is your full title, but this is an abbreviated title, and that should go right here. Also, what I see a lot of students doing is not making this Times New Roman. This is Times New Roman, and sometimes it can come up by default as Arial. So you just want to make sure your entire paper should be Times New Roman. And so speaking of APA 7th, there is also rumor that it will be less strict on Times New Roman, that it will give you a couple more font sizes and or font types, not so much size, but you just want to make sure that everything is Times New Roman. Has to be Times New Roman right now as of APA 6. I see a lot of students not having this information on the center of the entire page. So if you notice all this information, the title of the paper, the student name is in the center, and the college is centered on this entire page. I see some students having this information here, having it down here. You want to make sure that it is centered on the entire page. Okay? And as we continue to scroll down, if the assignment requires an abstract, you notice here you don't have the words running head anymore on page 2. So you need your page number, page 2, Times New Roman, size 12, and you need your just abbreviated title here in all caps. Abstract. Notice abstract. It is not bold and it is centered. It is not over here, but it is non-bold and it is centered. All abstracts are not indented like the rest of your paper. Okay? So you need to left justify this. Left justify. If you go right here to the paragraph button, you will see it is align left. What I see a lot of times is students will justify it here. They'll click that button and that'll be incorrect. And what I'll see is sometimes students will right justify and it will make your words kind of go like there and look funny. So you always want to make sure that everything is left justified for your abstract and your abstract only. Still left justified for everything else, but once you start getting down to page 3, that should be where I see indentations at. So if you look on page 3, you still have your running head. Okay, should be the same from here on out. Your page number. The title of the page goes here, or the title of your paper goes here. The complete title. non-bold, just your complete title centered. And underneath that, you should start typing away, of course, with your indentation. I see a lot of students that are not indenting a half an inch. It is not quite. I think some students are just double spacing, but this needs to be half an inch. Okay, and give me a complete paragraph. 4 to 5 complete sentences. A paragraph is not 2 to 3 sentences. You cannot get away with that as a paragraph. Okay, especially in doctoral writing. And so I know I have put in my comments feedback to you. Use the appropriate level APA heading to organize your information, make it easier on yourself to organize your paper to make sure that you're hitting all of the required rubric elements. And so what I am seeing is some students using level 1 headings, and you are not bolding it. So a level 1 heading should be bold, and it should be in title case. Now what title case is just like a title. You capitalize it according to the title. So if we go back up to page 1, you will see the T is capitalized, the O is not, the T is not, the P is capitalized, the I is not capitalized, the F is capitalized, so on and so forth. That is what's called title or title case. Okay, so you type things as if you're typing in a title. And so if we go back to page 3, this should be in title case. So you should not have, depending on what your title is, everything is not going to be lowercase or capitalized for that matter. Okay, and so you're going to use your heading, and then you're going to double space, and you're going to indent. These indents should be the same throughout your paper for consistency, and you'll be fine. So that's what's called a level 1 heading. A level 2 heading, almost like a level 1 heading, is still bold, but it is left justified, but it is not centered. So basically, it's a level 1 heading that is not centered, but is left justified, and then you double space, indent, and begin your writing. You always have to have a level 1 heading before you have a level 2 heading. It kind of goes in order. Okay? Always have to have a level 1 heading to have a level 2 heading in any subsequent headings. So level 1, you start with level 1 and work your way down. You could just use level 2 headings from here on out, with a mixture of 1 and 2. I mean, you can do whatever you want, whatever makes your paper flow better, but you at least have to have a level 1 heading. And so you see there another level 2 heading, another level 2 heading, level 3 heading. Okay, a level 3 heading is in sentence case. So you notice, like a sentence, the first letter is capitalized and everything else is not really capitalized like a title. Okay, so this is what's called sentence case. You're typing things like a sentence because not every word, with the exception of proper nouns, nothing's pretty much capitalized in a sentence except for the first letter, and any proper nouns like the United States, and then it ends in a period. So that's what's called sentence case, different than title case. But with the level 3 heading, a level 3 heading is indented. Okay, level 3 heading is indented, unlike a level 1 and a 2, and it is in sentence case. Okay, not title case. And these headings give you a clue, right? You got a capital A, capital L, capital H, title case. Here you have a capital L, a 3, and you have a lowercase h. So that's your clue, that's your trigger for sentence case. You have the period, which is bold as well, okay? Space, and then you have your text, okay? So that's the difference between a level 2 and a level 3 heading, okay? And so really, you only need to really master level 1, 2, and 3. Those are your main headings, and I have here example of level 4 heading, which is the same as basically a level 3 but italicized. I don't really use those, and I don't know a lot of people that use anything past a level 3 heading. But as always, as I said, you can go back to level 1 if you need to, especially for a main section as part of an assignment. Definitely feel free to go back to a level 1. And so now we're going to talk about the reference page. All right, the bane of some students' existence, but it does not have to be difficult. I will tell you, Microsoft Word has a references um, a button here where you can insert a citation, an APA. Don't use it. All right, it will always be wrong. Okay, the best way to cite something is with the APA manual and with this template or with the Purdue OWL website. Because I can tell you there will always be something wrong that is minor to you, but it is major in APA. APA, as I said earlier, is a very strict format, and where there's a space, there needs to be a space. Where there's not, there doesn't need to be one. What is italicized, it needs to be italicized, and Microsoft Word just hasn't really gotten it right. It's gotten it okay, but it hasn't gotten it perfect, and you should strive for perfection in your APA. I always like to say, Einstein was a brilliant man, definitely brilliant. But if he were to send up his first paper in a peer review article and nobody knew how genius he was, his article wouldn't have been published because he didn't know APA format. It would eventually got published after he got some help with APA and mastered that a little bit. But that's how important APA is to your future, especially if you want to go on to teach or publish in the future. And so, with your references section, all right, I give you the keys to the castle and all the clues here. What I see a lot of students doing is you're bolding this word references. Do not bold the word references. References is just centered, kind of like a level 1 heading, but it is not bold. Okay. Also, I see students spelling out authors' middle initials and first names, and you do not do that. The only name you spell out is the author's last name followed by a comma, space, their first name, period, comma. Okay. And if they have a first or a middle initial, you would just put a space there and then put their initial there as well. So if they have two initials, just have a space, put the middle initial, period, comma, and so far and so forth. Okay. You always have to have a comma before this and. Okay. The year of the publication. And so I already know this is a journal article because I see a DOI here. Okay. Your digital object identifier. This should always be in lowercase, not all caps. Okay. It should always be lowercase. The year of the publication, followed by a period. And so what I see students doing here is putting this in title case because it's the title of the paper. And don't get confused. The title of any journal should be in sentence case. Notice that every first letter of each word is not capitalized except for what? The proper noun, which is I. So the first letter is always capitalized, right? The only reason why I is capitalized here in this title of this journal article is because it's a proper noun. And then you need a space after that always, or a period, then a space after that always. The name of the journal itself needs to be italicized with a comma directly following. So I know that the journal itself is named Ancient Dictators. Journals mostly now are published online, but journals are also published in paper. And so this is just, think of a journal as a book with a whole bunch of little articles. And so I know Ancient Dictators is the name of the journal, and inside of that journal, Alexander and Bonaparte published a peer review article entitled My Way or the Highway That I Built in 2008. Okay, so you need your comma here. So very important. You also need this number right here italicized. Okay, this is your volume number. So always italicize your volume number. And a good way to remember that is all journal articles names are italicized, and so your volume is italicized. It's right beside each other. So if you forget, then this needs to be italicized as well. And this number right here is your issue number. You always have your issue number side by side your volume number in parentheses, but this is not italicized, followed by a comma, then a space, then your page numbers for your journal article, followed by a period, then your DOI. Okay, so another example. Bermstead is the author, was published in 2009. Title is The Essentials. Okay, colon. Another rule to follow: if you have a colon, colon has the same strength as a period. You always capitalize that first letter of whatever word follows that colon. Okay, and then just continue your sentence case. That was published in Journals of Famous Loafers with your comma. Okay, that's your volume number. It just so happened this didn't have an issue number, followed by a comma, then your page numbers and your DOI. Okay, so now we're going to go over a book. So same rules apply for authors when you have a book, okay, and the year that it was published. But what is different from a book, from an article, is the name of that book is italicized, and it is in sentence case, not title case. So you notice the only words that are capitalized is the first letter after this period, the C, the H is lowercase, the A is lowercase, the U is lowercase, so on and so forth, followed by a period. Okay, then the city and state that it was published, or the publishing company, so Thousand Oaks, comma, space, California, and then colon, and then the name of the publishing company, followed by a period. Okay, so everybody got that? And so that's a great tutorial, I think, that will break some things down. And so if you can master a journal article and you can master a book, then I mean that is awesome. You're pretty much halfway there. Okay, halfway there. That is the first battle. Once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And I hope that you use this resource to improve your writing and definitely pass off the information. Have a good one.